So we're live. So today I have Mario Lanzarotti. Am I saying your name correctly?
Yes, sir. That is
Okay,
correct.
cool. It's when was the last time we went live? It was a while, right? It
Oh
must have
man, it was
been. Is it
over a
2 years?
year. Yeah, yeah,
Over a year,
easily.
because it was
Yeah,
pre-pandemic.
yeah, yeah. It was 2 years ago. Yes, I remember.
So I have it. That's it's one of my featured posts, right? It's one of my
Mm-hmm.
featured. It's because you know what? I refer so many people to it because it's so good and it's like really helped a lot of people. So let's
Yeah.
see. So let me see. It says 1 year. I just don't know the exact date. How do you know the exact date? But yeah, well over a year ago, and it's just crazy, right? How these things happen and
Mm-hmm.
so many things happen. I mean, how's
Mm-hmm.
things been with you? I mean, has anything changed? You're going a
Whew.
different direction?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things changed. So I would say ever since the pandemic, when we spoke before the pandemic, I was on track to doing really well with my event business. I was doing events in specifically in Cape Town with a lot
Yeah,
of expat communities and companies that were operating from the US in Cape Town. So it was people like me, they love to travel, they have a growth
yeah,
mindset. And I was hosting workshops for them, and it was great. I was getting paid for it. I was getting clients from it. It was just like made for me. And then the
yeah,
company asked me to build a personal development program for nationwide. And I was like, man, this is amazing. And then,
yeah,
boom, pandemic. Company went belly up. And it's like, oh, here we go.
yeah,
So I was kind of forced to pivot, like so many people all over the world,
yeah,
to going online. And the beginning was really tough, man, because
yeah.
it's not the kind of
It's not a
kind of
normal. It's
me.
not a normal scenario. Like it's not something you read about in a book, and it's totally different.
No. And it's just like, it's like I'm talking to a camera. I'm talking to a screen. And then when it comes to marketing, especially, I used to focus most of my time on Instagram. I want to say so much. That's why I love having conversations like the one that we're having now, because I can take my time.
Yeah,
I can think. I can really go into Instagram. Is like, here's 5 seconds, tell you your life story. And if it's not interesting and you don't talk
yeah,
about how you almost died and became a billionaire, people are not going to click on
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. Instagram is
So
very. I mean, now it's changing. I mean, they're kind of now Instagram is losing a lot. TikTok like changed the game for all the
Mm-hmm.
social medias that
Mm-hmm.
they have to kind of adapt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So that happened. I still did travel quite a lot. I was living in Cape Town. I was living in Portugal, in Europe, and a couple other places, and connected with a lot of powerful leaders. Really was able to up my game also for me, the kind of person that I work with, and to see what I'm capable of and where I can take people. And it's always a reflection of where I take myself. I've done a lot of personal growth during the pandemic as well. I ventured deeper into the world of psychedelics. Did a
Yeah,
lot of work there with shamans, and that was woo
I
woo.
can
That was
imagine. That
something,
sounds very interesting and fun.
man. I can tell you all about that, but it was definitely, I like to combine different aspects because I believe that entrepreneurship is still viewed by most of us in a very limited way. We try to
I
make
agree.
it, oh, there's my business and then there's my personal life. It's like there's no such thing as like there's no real disconnection, because I don't think you have personal problems. I don't think you have business problems. I think you have personal problems that bleed
Mm.
into your business. I
Okay.
learned that from another coach once, and
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was like, "Wait a minute! Like, are you telling me because I struggle to market myself and say things publicly that I actually should look in my personal life?" And I was
Yeah.
like, "Okay, let me start looking." And then I started looking, and I was like, "Ooh, relationship with my mom. Ooh, relationship with my dad. Ooh, relationship with my fiance." It's like it's everywhere, and I'm like, "Oh, I didn't want to look here. This is uncomfortable. I
No,
want to."
you
You
bring
know?
up such great points because I've worked with people and I say a lot of time, in companies, especially corporations, I always say shit flows downhill, right? So the personal problems of the CEO affects his executive team, his or her executive team affects how they treat the ones below them, and you see it a lot, right? Like
Yeah,
the culture, and a lot of times it's like the person has an argument with their wife or husband. Typically, most people, it impacts how they treat others that day. There are
yeah,
very
of
few
course.
people who don't know how to separate. It's a special skill that you can keep it on that it doesn't impact you, because at the end of the day, and there's no repercussions, right? There's no repercussions if the CEO treats the people under him or her bad. There really isn't.
Yeah,
It's like, okay, what are you gonna do? That's a CEO. If you want,
exactly,
leave the company, right? That's typically the solution.
exactly. Yeah. And one other thing that fits into that is I've also shifted much more as to seeing what I do, not simply from the place of like, hey, I have a great business, I'm helping people, and it's allowing me to have a cool lifestyle and it's a lot of freedom in it, but to really think bigger and think, what is it that I'm doing that is contributing to a larger mission, to a
Yeah.
larger purpose? Why am I doing this? And I like to say that today's entrepreneurs are the real missionaries. It
No,
used to
I
be
like that.
the church is going around,
Yeah, yeah,
telling you, hey, this is, you got to go the Christian way. This is the right way. And people, okay, well, that sounds good. Let's do that. Or other people say, no, no, it doesn't sound good. Get out of my island here. But nowadays, it's like, hey, I'm selling you personal development. I'm selling you an idea. What is the idea? The idea is to change your perspective. Why? Well, because I'm selling you the idea of there's a better life out there. There's a life where you can have more you and less what everyone else thinks you should have. And it's more freedom, and essentially it's what I'm doing. So in a way, the way that I see my business today is revolutionary work.
yeah.
My mission is to raise human consciousness for all people on earth to have freedom.
I
It's
like
a
that.
huge thing. I'm not going to say
No.
that I will do this, but that's what I see myself contributing towards. And there's many people that are doing it, but I feel so strongly connected to that mission. That's why when I am with people, I've learned to call people out on their shit. When they tell
You
me,
have
yeah,
to.
it's just not the right time. I'll wait until my kids are through college, and I'll tell people, really, what's the kind of person you want to be? What is the example you want to give your children? Do you want to give your children the example? Always take the safe route. Don't take risks. Don't follow your dreams. Don't question what other people are telling you, because that's what you're doing, and that's the reality. And when you really sit people down, and people have done that with me many times, you're like, oh man, my behavior is contributing to the suffering in the world. By me looking the other way, people are suffering.
Yeah.
You can take any problem in the world. Take racism. If there's one guy that gets bullied by two other men, and you see it, and you do, that's not my
Yeah.
problem. No, 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 that's not comfortable. You are contributing to it.
Yeah.
Say something. Do something. Be there. Don't go then. Oh, earlier today I saw something on the street, and then you posted black image. You said, oh, I've done my duty. Now I feel better about
Yeah.
myself. Now I can go back to watching Netflix and do nothing.
Yeah. Nah, you bring up a great point that one of my favorite quotes is, "You must be the change you want to see in the world," right? Or change you wish to be in the world, right?
Yes,
And
Gandhi.
and it's important because a lot of times, like I see it all the time, right? We want things to be better, and then it's like people are so focused on themselves that they don't think about like how they contribute, right? And the famous starfish example where I think the boy sees a bunch of starfish and he throws them back in the water, and the parent or someone says, "Hey, what are you doing?" He's like, "I'm trying to save the starfish." He's like, "Oh, but there are millions of them. It's not going to make a difference throwing them one by one." He's like, "It made a difference to that one." And that's how things happen, right? The
Yeah.
summation of all the acts that people do, whether good and bad, right? That's the end result. It's like a lot of time people like they want change, but they're like, "Oh, I'm not going to make a difference." But it's like, fixing up your own neighborhood, fixing up your own relationship, fixing up the people around you have impacts on their lives, which have impacts on other people's lives. So it's like these things are very important to really consider.
Yeah. And you've touched on a great point here, because what I see with that, and that's also what I love, I've personally seen myself, and I see so many entrepreneurs and business owners struggle. It's this: if I don't see the end result, I'm not going to put myself into it. I got to see that the goal is going to happen. Otherwise, I'm not going to be motivated and confident. So you see that with a lot of people. They start out, yes, okay, great, write down my goals. I'm going to set up a
Yeah.
plan. It's all going to go nice. First day, yay. Second day, yay. Third day, fourth day, it's just not working. I don't know. It's me. I guess I don't have it, and that's because you're so focused on the outcome. You're attached to the outcome. But actually, what's really most important is to become process orientated, because that's the process of mastery. Look at all the greats in the world. Look at sports people. The really good sports people, they don't do it for the purpose of winning the medal. They love what they do. They are engulfed with it. They're like, I love getting up every day and being able to serve people. You love helping people have a better opportunity in life, in their career, right? You change, you make an impact. You do it because you love it, not because, I'm assuming, because if you don't see someone win, then you're like, oh, screw this, I'm going to do something else. I'm just going to go work for a bank,
Yeah.
right?
Nah, you're. It's so true that a lot of times, if you want to cause big change, you're gonna be very detached, or there's gonna be a big timeline between when you do something and the impact, right? Because I've seen it happen where I've had people message me. I never knew it. I never knew they were impacted. They say, "Hey, I really love your content. Thank you so much. I actually used one of the advice and I landed an interview, right?" And the thing is, whether they told me or not, the event happened, right? It's independent of whether them telling me or not. And I know, look, there are some people I'll never know I impacted them, but
Right.
I do know I'm doing good in the world. So it's one of those things that it's like you have to sort of detach because there are plenty of people who you've had an impact on that you just never know, and it's okay, right?
Yeah.
Just focus on who you do know of, and then just realize that you must be impacting more people.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you naturally become much more impactful and successful when you detach from the outcome, because we have this tendency to believe that somehow we have control over the outcome. We
Yeah,
have zero control. And I mean that, zero. We have influence, we can
yeah,
we can we can focus on what we can commit at any given day. That's what we can do. That's what we have in our control. And sometimes not even that, because
yeah,
life happens. But if you focus on, oh my God, if it's not that way, then I'll be disappointed, and you do that consecutively over the course of how many months ahead, you'll give up. You'll feel like a failure. You'll feel like things are not working out. And you focus on the wrong information. And then you hang up your dream on, I have measured myself against something that never made sense to measure myself in the first place. And
yeah,
so then people, they that's why, we play the game of life. There are no rules in life, especially if you look at if in the mind. The mind, there are no rules. There's no such thing as this is the way or that is the way. This is right. This is wrong. It's all malleable. It's all made up. So essentially, it's like playing a computer game. Elon Musk said there's a high chance we're living in a similarity, in a
yeah,
simulation, right? You look at the Matrix. Even if we don't go that far, if you just think about it, because every single day you basically get to create your world, but you forget. So it's a process of remembering. It's like you playing a computer game and you completely programmed the whole thing, and you're like, oh my God, this level is so freaking hard and so frustrating and I hate it. And you're like, yeah, why don't you reprogram it? You don't have to go and make it all hard and suffer all day and like, oh my God, my life is so hard and so unfair and it's their fault. You just change the rules and have fun, have a lot of fun. And that's where, to me, the freedom comes in.
wow. So, what how has the pandemic transformed you? Like, because it's definitely changed the way we think, changed the way we approach things. What big transformation have you gone during the pandemic?
Whew, it's a good question. I think the biggest one came to also my rebranding. I'm sure you saw my brand is called the Freedom Architect, because I asked myself, really, what is it that I want? Why am I doing this? Why do I want to help people? Why do I want to impact people's lives? Why do I want to build this great lifestyle? Why do I have these ambitious goals for myself? And all came down to freedom. All came down to freedom. And I look back and say, how did I initially get started? When I first did my corporate career in Germany, and I was becoming a pilot for Lufthansa, and I became depressed and close to suicide and was in chronic pain. The reason I got there was because I had no freedom. And by freedom, I mean the freedom to be me, all of me, to think me and to feel me, and not to put myself into some sort of box. And I sort of lost track of that. I went down the path of just go, come on, just keep the focus on the goal. Eventually you'll get there. And I was making progress, but on the outside I was making progress. On the inside, I wasn't feeling differently. And I was like, how much freedom do I really have? What happens when someone disagrees with me when I post something on social media? What happens when a family member disagrees with me when I have a different opinion? Do I feel triggered? Hell yes. And I was like, oh, so I want freedom, but am I really free? How often do I compare myself to other people that are further ahead in the game? Okay, not a lot of freedom there. How clear am I about why I do what I do and who I am? Okay. So I was looking at all of the places where fear was running my life. And I think fear shows you two things. It's very clear for most of us in the growth industry that fear shows you opportunities where you can grow. But I also find fear shows you where you are not free.
That's a good one.
Because you can only ever be as free as your current reality allows you to be. Think about that. Think about your reality. Every day, when you wake up in the morning, do you wake up like, what a day. Wow, thank you, higher power. If I believe in that, I do. God. But if you don't, thank you, life. Thank you, air. Thank you, blood flowing through my veins. You know, how many people really get up like that? Most people get up like this. Oh, that again? Oh, coffee. There's my coffee. Okay. Okay, I'm ready. Okay, day. Okay, right. Yeah. Okay, I got a lot of stuff to do today. So there's this sense of I've arrived here and I sort of got to do my thing, and oh man, it's just tough. And if you say that to people, they say, yeah, of course it is, because life is hard, you know?
Yeah.
And I would say, no, it's not hard. Why? Where does it say? Show me. Where does it say imprinted in the universal truth of life is hard?
Yeah.
You won't find it. But it's true for a lot of people. It was true for me for a long time. There's still areas in my life where I subconsciously have a belief that it's hard because I know that I'm making it more difficult than it has to be.
Yeah.
So, you know, when you talk about work, right? The work you do, what's the kind of language that you use to describe work? What are some words that come to mind that work is?
For me, I like change, impact. Those are the two things, at least for me.
When you talk about, you know, there's still work for later. How would you describe that?
Work for later?
Yeah, when you think about there's something, a task for later, how would you talk about that you are going to do that?
I will get to do that. I have a list called my get to do list.
Okay, great. So you're already on it. All right, okay, good.
Yeah, someone told me about that. Instead of the to do list, I have a get to do. So I will get to do it.
Perfect. That's spot on. Because so many people, they say, I still have to do a lot of work, you know, or I got to do a lot of work, or I must get this done. That comes with a sense of heaviness. So you are creating a reality in which you are less free. You make it heavy, but no one is telling you that's the way it has to be. You're just choosing those words, and those words are creating this world that you are living in. So how easy is it in your world to have freedom, or how difficult is it in your world to have freedom? And that just shows in your way, in the way, if you want to market yourself and you live in this heavy world, and then you go out of your comfort zone by doing something that's uncomfortable to you, that's unknown. Do you want to go in there with a light baggage, or with a heavy trunk that you're pulling after yourself?
Yeah, no, I like that perspective. To free yourself, you have to lift the burden off yourself. So Chris asked a good question. He said, what do you do from a health perspective that allows you to wake up like that? Because, you know, it's very important. Like, there's the mental perspective, right? How you view the world, but there's also a physical perspective that if you're eating junk all the time, if you're not getting enough sleep, whatever, you're not going to wake up like that, right? It doesn't matter how much you love your life. If you're getting 30 minutes of sleep, you're going to wake up a certain way.
Yes, and so that's a great question. So I think first, for me, it all starts in the mind, because the mind is the operating center for pretty much your life. You know, there's an architecture to your life, and the mind is the blueprint for that. So it doesn't matter if you eat the healthiest diet out there, whatever that is. But if you are approaching health with the idea, health is when I'm not sick or not in pain, you'll never have energy. A lot of people think in terms of, oh, as long as I'm not sick, or not in pain, I'm healthy. So welcome to the 21st century where we have an infinite amount of numbing mechanisms to not feel pain. So,
Oh, okay.
drinking, smoking, eating, binge watching, porn, you name it. There's so much stuff that helps us not feel. So we can get the illusion that everything is running fine. So I would say it starts there. First of all, get clear on your definition of health. For me, health means I have the energy I need to pursue the life I love. Very simple. So I always think in terms of energy. And if you want to talk about routine, I get up in the morning. I take about 2 hours for myself before I get started. And I start with a breathing practice. Then I go into a meditation. Then I do a workout. Usually I also have a journaling. At the moment, I'm doing a lucid dreaming course. And I really take time in the morning. I take it slow, I want to start the day not with I have to do work or I am this entrepreneur, but Mario, taking time for Mario. And that just puts me in the right state of mind. And the moment my mind is in the right state, my body responds. So it's like, I would say, because there are so many different things out there to follow, I would say find whatever brings you to a place of balance on the inside, where you feel at ease, where you feel grounded, where you feel like I'm here and this is where I am and this is the right place where I am and I shouldn't be there. And it's, you can accept where you are and who you are in this moment. That already sets the tone for having a lot of energy. Because I work with people that are not necessarily in shape physically, but the moment they start aligning their mind and they start to also focusing on the heart, and we can talk about the heart in a moment, which is emotions, things start shifting dramatically, because emotion is energy in motion. So if you are stressed all the time, forget about energy, it just eats you up from the inside.
Yeah, no. So let's go to the heart. That's an interesting
Mm-hmm.
organ to talk about. One of the most important organs.
Yes. And so when I talk about the heart, I not necessarily refer to the organ, but I refer to the symbolic meaning of it and more to like the energetic meaning of it. So there's actually really interesting, a place to look it up called the Heart Math Institute.
Okay.
And the Heart Math Institute looks at the heart from a scientific perspective. And something that blew my mind, if you look at the organ, the heart, there are more neurons going from the heart to the brain than from the brain to the heart, which is just like, what? I didn't know that. That's so there's more information going from the heart to the brain than vice versa. And here's how I explain to people in the simplest way that I can why so many people struggle with confidence or imposter syndrome, you name it, whatever kind of fancy term you want to name for essentially what comes down to one thing: not being able to trust yourself. So what happens? The heart sends authentic emotions up to the brain. Something happens in the body, the heart communicates it to the brain. The brain then goes through a filter, which is usually a story and an interpretation. Oh, okay, I'm feeling that what's coming up is sadness. Oh yeah, but I shouldn't feel sad because sad is something that only women feel. I'm a man, so I'm strong. Okay, toughen up, man, toughen up. Come on, or I'm busy, I can't do that. So then what we do is from the brain, suppress. So we suppress the emotions that come up, suppress. And what happens, there is a disconnection between heart, mind. Meaning there's a disconnection within yourself, meaning you don't trust yourself. So if you look at the 21st century, what do business leaders not do?
Trust.
They don't talk about their emotions.
Yeah.
Everyone talks about their mindset, because that's easy. And especially men, you can see it. So when I ask clients that first come to me, so how are you feeling today? Yeah, good. Or yeah, not so good. What does that mean? Yeah, just not good. Okay, I get this. Yeah, but can you go deeper? And a lot of people actually don't have the vocabulary to describe what's happening inside of them. And without having the vocabulary to describe what's happening inside of you, you have no access. Meaning, there are always going to be mechanisms working against you. So you're going to be running in cycles, you're always running around. And I can give you a personal, powerful experience that I just went through. Actually, yesterday this happened. It was like
share
a
it.
monumental breakthrough for me, you know? So over the past few months, towards the beginning of the year, I've been, struggling in my business. I've been feeling slow. I've seen the growth was stagnant. I wasn't really motivated as much. I kept on doing the same things over and over again, hoping for a different outcome, and ta-da, obviously that outcome didn't come. And I had some ideas on how I would show up more powerfully in my conversations with people and in marketing myself online on Instagram. But I was too afraid. I was like, I can't say that. If I really call people out that way, they're going to tell me, oh, dude, who the fuck are you? You can't say that to me. Like, how dare you? And so I talked myself out of it. And a lot of entrepreneurs do this. And so what my story was, well, I don't have the right target market. I'm not speaking to the right people, because if I was speaking to the right people, I'd feel much more comfortable. It would flow better. Okay, so then I would tell myself, well, I'm not attracting the right target market because my messaging is off. Okay. Then I told myself, it must be my product. So I kept looking for things outside of myself to justify something that I wasn't feeling on the inside, confidence. And so eventually things started to shift, and they started to shift the moment I started to speak up. I started to speak my truth. When I say speak my truth, it's to really share what I feel and what I think. I often get these, call them downloads in a conversation when I'm with someone. I'm observing them, I'm seeing something, and I'm like, okay, I'm getting this. And sometimes I used to say, I can't say that now. They're going to think I'm like crazy, stupid, And at some point I said, okay, I'm going to say it now, whatever. And I said it. And all of a sudden, bam, transformation. Oh my God, that was spot on. And I could see people break down in conversations with me, and then, have a breakthrough. And so on this weekend, I had a little mushroom trip with friends of mine in the forest. And holy cow, man. I thought it was going to be like a walk in the park, a little bit like looking at the flowers, the trees. And oh my God, so beautiful. Wow. Feel so connected. I felt so uncomfortable. And I noticed my body was like shivering a tiny bit. And that's usually a sign when you are suppressing something. You don't want to, and I was like, oh. Yeah. So what I realized is that I carried a lot of shame inside of me. Shame connected to who I believe I am. To look at where am I in my business. And to think, oh, but I should be here right now. And because I'm not here, because I'm here, what does that say? And then I looked at that and it's like, yeah, why do I want success? And so, okay, I want success because when I'm successful, then I can prove something. That this path that I'm going, which is a path against the flow, because I used to be criticized a lot for being different. Hence this mindset coach, speaker, traveling around the world, coming from a small town in Germany. A lot of people questioning, oh, what do you do? Get a proper job. Get something serious. And so I always felt I had to prove something. And through the proving, I found the connection. I found to be worthy. I found to be able to be accepted. So what I saw was that what I really felt was loneliness. I felt lonely. Lonely in my path, in my striving for success, in always creating this image of being the performer, of being the one that functions. I mean, how often do you tell yourself that you have to function, that you have to solve problems, that, one thing after the next? Well, how often do you give yourself time to really allow yourself to be seen as you are with all of the things that are going on? Do you take a lot of time for that? I personally haven't done that much.
No, I mean, I used to do a lot more, but as businesses grow, you get busy, and it's one of those things that you kind of push off, right? And
but you see, that's what I mean. The language that you're using is exactly the language that I used to use. Yeah. You see, you normalize it. You see, this is, that's why I can, because it's so busy and I'm climbing higher. It's going more successful.
Yeah, you're right.
And it's normalizing it. And I see so many entrepreneurs do this. As the higher we climb, the less we look at ourselves. And in that, it becomes isolating. And that was my experience. I felt lonely, but I was too afraid to say that. I was like, I can't say that I'm lonely because then people are not going to take me serious. They're going to think, oh, he's not the successful guy that I think he should be. And it's bullshit. I know it's bullshit because I opened myself up to the group that I was with, telling them that, guys, I'm actually really scared to open myself up now because I think you're going to judge me and you're going to perceive me as a weakling. And it was the total opposite. They had breakthroughs. They were like, oh my God, I'm going through the same thing. And we started crying. It was like, oh my God, what? And it was like this freeing moment, you know? And the fact that I can have this conversation with you now and talk about this openly for me is monumental. And I can do this in conversations with other leaders, you know? Like today I had a conversation with another company leader, very high person, but struggling. And he's not used to struggling. And so he's suffering big time. So much stress that he's carrying on his shoulders. And how are you going to get out of the struggling in your business phase if you cannot breathe, if you cannot think creatively, if you cannot be courageously? But you can't be that if you continuously hold everything in and you think, it's fine, I got this, you know, I'm busy, I got this, okay, next week, on the Sunday, I'll do it when I have a little time, and then the next thing comes, and then you never do it, and then just... So that's one thing that just coming through me in a big way.
No, I'm happy because it's, men do tend to hold back their emotions, and it's kind of sad just that they don't discuss these things, and it just manifests itself in negative ways, right? That it just leads to bigger problems down the line. It's just kicking, the barrel. What is it? Kicking the can down the road, kicking the barrel, whatever. I forgot the exact saying. And you want to talk about these things. You want to talk about the struggles. You want to talk about, because thing is, you're always going to struggle along the way in some capacity, and it's better to kind of share it, be open with it, because I see a lot of younger people, they look at someone and they say, I want to be that person, I want to be this, I want to be that, and they think that person doesn't have and then what happens is, let's say they move higher, they get to a stage, and they're not happy because they believe it's this ideal state where you're just supposed to be happy and everything's right, but they still struggle in their own ways and different ways because it's not what you expect it to be. And then it's this very big disconnect because you've worked so hard to get to the state and it's not what you want it to be. Like one of the things I kind of recently looking at is a lot of people have dream companies, right? You want to work at Facebook, you want to work at Google, right?
Right.
You look at all these dream companies, the average person stays there 3 years. And all those people had the same dreams, right? That this is my dream company. So then what does it mean? It's that, like, think about it. If I'm in my dream state, I want to be there for more than 3 years. Right? That's not a dream state. I want to stay forever.
Yeah.
Right? So it means that there's a disconnect between what they thought was their dream and their actual dream, because now they got it and they realize, hey, this wasn't the dream, right? They kind of were attaching themselves to the status of the company, the salaries, this and that. So this causes a big issue. And then what happens is now they have to rethink their life because they work so hard towards this goal, and then they leave after 3 years and they kind of, right? So it's very important to kind of step back, look at these things, and what is your actual dream? Yeah. Is this company a means to an end or whatever? And then once you do that, you can be much more realistic.
Yeah, and to me, that's where freedom comes in, because unless you are in a mental and emotional state where you can be free, and by free I mean you are not controlled by fear, because fear can only control you if you resist it. Like there's people that talk, and I find the people that strive for fearlessness are the ones that are controlled the most.
Yeah.
Because they think that there is this state but there's this life where you have no fear. It's like you're just no fear. You can get there in meditation, when you're fully present. Then there's no fear, because in the present moment there's no fear. Fear is an illusion of the mind. It's from the protection mechanism of the mind. But there's two ways that entrepreneurs respond to fear. One is it keeps you stuck, and you just do nothing. You look at the fear, and you're like, oh God, what will they think of me? What if I fail? Maybe it's just not meant to be. That's one. Or the other one is, okay, there's the fear. I'm going to crush that motherfucker. Okay. I'm going to do action. Busy. But the fear is here, and you're like always, I gotta stay busy. And you keep going. But the fear is always there, and you have no freedom. That's why when I was in New York and I was running my custom shoe company, and I had so many multi-millionaire clients, I had 2 billionaire clients, and I was so excited because I was just a student. I was like, oh my god, I'm meeting all these amazing people. Holy shit! I researched them on LinkedIn. I was like, oh wow, this CEO, holy shit, man! They came into the showroom, whiskey, cigar, showed me their girlfriends that they were cheating on with other girlfriends, and I'm like, this guy's not happy. This guy looks terrible. He's so stressed. What the hell? Oh my God, this is a fraud. I was like, wait a second. And I was like, oh no, this is a big disappointment. I thought the more successful the more freedom you have, the more easy, the more light, the more vibrant you are, the more energy you have. But none of that is true. It's always in your relationship to fear, whether you make $1,000 a month, 10,000, 100,000, $1 million, it doesn't matter. If you cannot master your relationship with fear, the fear cup, forget it. You're a prisoner for the end of life, and you'll die in fear. And that to me is the real tragedy that especially our entrepreneurs, because we're so ambitious in creating something, fall into.
I mean, I see it all the time. It manifests itself in different ways in how people treat others and their relationships and all that. And I find a lot of people with fear, they're always chasing something new, right?
Yeah.
They're always trying to find something to either make them happy, but to be happy, you have to look inside yourself. Barring that you don't, the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? You get all your basic needs. A lot of it stems from yourself, right? The process of being happy.
Everything stems from yourself, because what you see in the outside world is not what's there. Like you cannot look at me the way that I am. You look at me from the way that you think I am, and vice versa, by the way.
Yeah.
So everything that I see in you, that I judge, that triggers me, is what I judge and see in myself. Like if I used to be in the past, when I saw, family members that were not as ambitious as me, I would say, oh yeah, they're lazy. They're complaining, they're not doing, they're so negative, and yeah, just like, But guess what? I was blaming myself whenever I thought I wasn't doing enough. I was constantly holding myself to this incredible high standard and think, yeah, I'm just not good enough. So obviously, then I'm going to look for where else can I see it? Oh, there, that person. So I can judge that person, because that feels a lot less painful than judging myself. And so what does it create? Disconnection in relationships. This is why relationships don't work in the 21st century, why people are so scared of connection. When people go on dates, hi, okay, let me send you an emoji. There's no more real connection there. Yesterday, when I was with this guy on this trip, I met him twice. And he broke down, I broke down. I was like, dude, I don't even know you. Oh my God, this is so embarrassing. I said, that's the whole lie that we've been told, that you need to build up a whole life to have permission to trust another human being. And it all comes from you. If you don't trust yourself, you can't trust other people. If you don't love yourself, you can't love other people. It always starts in here.
I mean, it's you want to fix the world, you fix yourself.
You want to know something real trippy?
Yeah, tell me.
There's nothing to fix.
Oh, I like that perspective.
That's what was the perspective that drove me into depression, because I tried so desperately to fix myself. And the more you try to fix yourself, the more problems you're going to find. Because you got to be the fixer.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you run out of things to fix, and that's like ego death. You always got to be right about what you believe about yourself. Otherwise, you go crazy. You got to be. When you look in the mirror, it has to be a consistent image every single day. If you believe I am Jonette, and you look tomorrow in the mirror and you're like, I'm Mario. Oh my God, what happened here? Shit. Oh, I'm going crazy. So your beliefs are consistent with your self-image. So if you think you are a fixer or you need to be fixed, then you're going to find problems all the time. And you're going to find them in other people. You're going to find them in the world. And again, what's missing? Freedom. But if you believe there's nothing to fix, I'm already whole and complete, you're going to act from that place. And if you act from a full cup, you don't need to go to other people and try to empty their cup and put it into yours. You're like, oh, look, I have a full cup. I like to share. I like to give compliments. I like to be kind. I like to invite you to my cup. You also have a full cup. Let's join our cups together, brother. Hey, let's have a great time. Let's create something beautiful. But where do the problems occur? Oh, look at his cup. He's got more than mine. He's got a fancy cup. Look at my shitty cup. I want your cup, motherfucker. No, it's mine. Ha, ha. Let's go to war. So, when you come to the conclusion that there's nothing to fix, there's not much more that you need to do. There's what you choose to do. But you choose from a place of, I'm already full. That means you go out into the world and you play. That skyrockets your health, your chances of creating the success you want, your connection to other people, your connection to God or source or the universe. It just makes you a whole better life experience because you're operating from a full potential. That's what it is, full potential. Because you believe you're already full. There's nothing to go out and accomplish and prove. It's just play.
Yeah, no, I think, what did they say? Zara said comparing shrinks us, right? And then Kelsey Sultan says everybody has their own cup. Thanks, Chris Daniel Hall, for all your comments. And one of my favorite quotes, I forgot who said it, but comparison is the thief of joy.
Yes.
Right? And I've seen it all the time that, oh, this person makes this much, or this person has this person has that. What's funny is you only see a visual representation of what they have. You don't know what they actually have, right? I've seen it all the time where it's like, oh, I've seen people, they have lots of money, but they can't even talk to their mother because their wife doesn't like them talking to their mother. All these other things, right? You see all these things, so it's like, what do they have?
Yeah.
Right? What do they really have? And we honestly don't know.
Yeah, we can never know. There's a ancient Indian saying that says, "Don't judge a man unless you walk, I think it's a mile in his moccasins."
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that, and it's so true. You cannot judge another person because you're not living their life. Just like no one can judge you because they're not living your life. You never know what's really going on. It's so easy to judge. It's so easy. I mean, man, there's no responsibility in judging. You're just in your little comfort bubble. And if you want growth in your life as an entrepreneur, more impact, don't judge yourself. That's the worst thing. I just read an article, linked it before I jumped on, and then I still have it open. Oh yeah, here. It's a poll. It's like when you look at your failures in business and life, who is most to blame? And then it's my competition, my family, my company, myself. And I comment, I'm just like, don't blame anything. Don't bring blame into the conversation. That's the reason why you are creating the failure in the first place. Because you're acting from a place of fear. When you blame, when you blame yourself, do you afterwards go, oh, I feel so wonderful. Wow, I feel so great now. Oh, wonderful. Let me just, do something even better than I tried.
No, it typically only leads to bad things.
Right. It shrinks you. Because, but the reason we blame, the intention comes from, I blame because I think it will teach me something. Like, stupid dog. Next time you sit down. Right? The dog obeys, but the dog is now more afraid of you. Guess what? Your inner child that hears all of the blame is now more afraid of you. What does it lead to? Again, a lack of trust, a lack of self-expression. It all comes from your internal world. So if you blame, you actually avoid learning because now you're afraid and your brain goes into fight and flight. So your vision starts to shrink. So you start to go into saving energy, which then leads to you not learning. The whole system, that's why in school, when you teach by punishment, it doesn't work. It's just that people are not learning. They're not learning to think creatively. They're just learning to regurgitate information. And what does that make you? Replaceable. An AI machine can replace you. You're not a creative self-expression, not a genius that was brought into this world. So instead of blaming, accept. Okay, this is the way that I did it. I got it. That's okay. Now, what can I do better the next time? Great. Let's move on.
Yeah, no, I mean, I love your perspective, man. You always have interesting things to share. Yeah, no, I mean, so you mentioned that, you went through like that depression.
Yes.
And how long did it take you to sort of get out of?
It's a good question. So I think at the height, so I was struggling with chronic back pain, meaning I had a slip disc. And the way that it showed in my body was I had this shooting pain in my left leg, which I couldn't sit. I couldn't stand or sleep without being still. I was constantly moving around. I was like, ah. So I was on pain meds the whole time. And eventually, because the pain kept getting stronger, I kept increasing the ratio of the pain meds. And then I was sitting in class. I remember I was sitting there like this, like drowsing off. And then I was feeling so ashamed because all these other top dogs, these top pilots that really wanted to be there, I didn't want to be there. I had told myself I want to be there, were like looking at me. I was like, "Yeah, man, what's going on? You're not respecting, appreciating that you're here. This is like, top dog thing." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's all good, it's all good, it's all good." But I was so afraid to tell them. So I was in this spiral of I don't want to be here, but I can't admit that I don't want to be here. And oh my God, what will people think of me? And oh my God, my pain. And that eventually led me close to, committing suicide. I was actively thinking about, throwing myself in front of a train. I was like, I'm going to do it today. I'm going to do it, And then one day I woke up in my bed and I couldn't move my legs anymore. I was like, okay, fuck. Okay, this is really now, you got to do something. Either you end it or you do something completely different. And then I found Tony Robbins and I started listening to Tony Robbins. And this was me 10 years ago in Germany. Tony Robbins in Germany is like, who's this fraud? He's like one of these American people that talk bullshit, one of those guys. So I was like, okay, listening. And I started to then shift my perspective. And then I quit my career and I went into strength training and I started dealing with my emotions. And my depression left within weeks. It was gone, And then later on I went to Berlin and I got hooked on party drugs. And that was the next... So I wasn't out of the things that I needed to heal. But what helped me heal my depression was to speak my truth, was to own my truth, and to finally come out and say, I'm really unhappy. I'm really in pain. I'm suffering. I can no longer do this. And I accepted that part of me. And that's when I began healing.
Wow. So no, I mean, life is always the ups and downs and the all around. Hey, what's up, Usama? Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, I mean, so what's in the future for you? How do you approach the future now?
How do I approach the future now? I'm aware of the future, but I do my best to live in the present moment. I focus on, business leaders, business owners that have a vision or that feel they have a vision but are not quite sure yet how that's going to look like, and to help them create freedom in all aspects of their life, in their income, financially, in the way that they create impact in their business, with their customers, with their family, with their friends, to really create transformation. Because I believe that it's not enough to just go through a change. You can go to the gym and get ripped and feel, wow, I'm on top of the world. But then you go back to your family and everyone is obese and like dying and like eating Big Macs all day long. And you're like, oh God, it's terrible. That's not real transformation. Transformation is what you said earlier. Be the change you wish to see. Because when you become the change, people are magnified to follow your example. Not all of them, of course, but it's a higher chance. So, to help really leaders to go through that transformation and have freedom in their relationships. How many leaders, like you said earlier, they go home and they have no relationship to their spouse. They're just, it's like a transaction. Their sex sucks. I love you. Yeah, love you too. Okay. But there's no joy. There's no adventure. There's no romance, no passion, because it's all sucked up in the business. So to really focus on that and to help them create a level of success without compromising their mental health, without the anxiety, without the constant stress, without all of that fear every single day it shows up when you think about, okay, I'm going to now start traveling to another country. I'm going to open up a new company. I'm going to now focus on helping other people. I've made so much money. Now I want to focus on helping, but I have no idea how it looks like. So that's my focus, and to really continue to work one-on-one. I'm a one-on-one kind of person. I love being in your corner. I love being that coach that gives you that massage, say, come on, let's go back, back into it. I'm the guy that lovingly kicks your ass. I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give it to you straight. I'm going to say, Jonat, you are lying. You're lying to you and you're lying to me. And I'm not standing for your lies. I'm standing for your truth, for your power. All right? So I'll be there. And that really is my continuous process of commitment. And then there's some other things in the pipeline, I'm I'm working on a TV show. That's something.
Oh, that's
That's
serious.
something. Yeah, that's something that's still very early stage, but it's a lifelong dream of mine to be
Oh,
able
I hope you get it.
to create something on TV, because I want to bring this conversation that we're having about mental health to the masses. Because how many people go down the traditional path and don't find healing? Because in the traditional path of therapy, of psychology, I'm not saying it's bad or anything. I'm just saying maybe it's time we advance to something different. Because I find a lot of times when you already talk about mental health, it's talked with words like issue or sickness. It's like, oh, you've got that thing. Okay. And then shame, you have shame with it. And shame doesn't allow you to actually step out of it. And then people carry their anxiety around like it's their designer handbag. Yeah, my anxiety. They're like, look here on my anxiety talk now on 5 p.m. on EST. I'm going to talk about my anxiety. So it's like this attachment thing. Again, there's no freedom. So I want to be able to help people have freedom. I want to be focusing more on, I have a mentorship program, and I'm going to create a mentorship academy for young leaders to go through that. That's my contribution, where I don't charge any money, because I believe that it's all about giving back. And I've been working in mentorship groups for a long time now, and it just warms my heart to see
Yeah.
people all over the world step up and become powerful leaders and then pass that knowledge on. So that's coming from me in the near future.
Yeah, I like that. That's very interesting. And no, thank you. And feel free to send me the link so I can share it with my audience and all that. I mean, it's always good to see what updates. Just realize that I don't mind being the background actor. The guy who's sitting in the corner, in the coffee shop while you're having your conversation. No, that's cool. I mean, I'd love to kind of see it, because that's like an amazing thing.
Yeah, yeah. So what is something that you need right now when you really think about it? And don't tell me nothing.
No, no, I need a lot of things.
What's one thing?
This is tough, right? Because I need a lot of things. But if there's one thing, I need to clean my room. I've been honestly, it's just one thing that it's something I hate doing. Right? It's something I dislike. So if it wasn't pandemic, I'd pay someone, just pay them and get it out the way. But that's like one thing. I'm
Okay.
making slow progress.
Okay.
Making slow
So
progress.
you, me, and everyone watching right now, let's challenge Jonah to clean his room.
Okay,
Are
it's
you
official.
gonna take it on?
I, I'm gonna take it on.
Okay. So by when are you gonna have it done?
Let me see.
It's
By
Monday.
no, August 15th.
That's
August
a
15th.
long time, brother. How big is
Yeah.
your room?
No, it's not. It's not big. It's just I got some other things I gotta get done first. But you
Uh,
know what? It's not like I won't attempt it before then. It's not like August 14th. 11 p.m. I'm gonna start. I'm gonna slowly go. Yeah. Well, you know what? Let's push it back up a week. August 7th.
Okay, so I'm going to throw out a challenge. You don't have to take it on. I
Yeah.
want to throw a challenge because I think you'll feel really good when you do it.
Yeah.
By the end of the week.
End of the week.
Yeah, it's Monday.
Next Monday.
This Monday. So end of the week is what? 31st, 1st August.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Let's do it.
All right. I'm going to make a note here.
Yeah.
I'm going
Yeah.
to check.
Okay.
I'm going
So
to check in on you.
August 1st.
August 1st. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Let's do it. You can check up on me.
Tonight, clean up.
Yes. I better start right now.
All right. Got you. See, small steps lead to giant outcomes. That's what Tony Robbins always says.
Yeah. 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 No, I like that. I like that. End of the week. I'll do it. I'll do it. We'll see.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm excited. But yeah, just little things. Thankfully things are moving in the right direction. Things are good. Things are moving along, so I'm happy.
Good.
You know?
And you're doing great work, and I really appreciate those conversations with you.
Yeah.
It's always
No, we gotta do this
fun.
again.
It's always fun.
We gotta definitely not as much time in between. And Chris is gonna keep me on track. Chris is always my business partner and always helping me out and always
Nice.
pushing me in the right direction. So I always
Nice.
appreciate that, Chris.
Shout out to Chris.
Yeah, Chris. Everybody needs a Chris in their life. Everybody needs a Chris. They need a Kelsey. Um, and thank you, Teresa, for always supporting me. I always appreciate everyone in the live. So, Mario, Zara sent you a connection from watching this
Awesome.
live. So, all of you send Mario a connection. He's
Yes,
a
let's
very
chat.
good guy to follow. Check out, if you guys want, it's on my featured, the Imposter Syndrome. So, it's on my featured section. So, it's like, I always tell people, I was like, what do I want them to see? I want them to see that. And, yeah, no, Kelsey will also keep me on track. So, any final thoughts before we sort of end this?
Any final thoughts? Yes. So, first of all, for you, really big shout out for being the person you are and for every single day standing up with that commitment that you're bringing forward.
Thank
You
you.
don't have to do this. You could just take the easy road and just do, 9 to
Not,
5 and you'll be
yeah,
fine. You'll be
yeah.
fine. But, you're putting in the extra effort. You're showing yourself, that comes with a lot of insecurities and fears that come up in the background, but you're still standing no matter what. So I really respect that. And I know that the people that are with you definitely respect that as well. So I wanted to say that. And for everyone watching now, watching later, really my invitation for you is to open up, is to look for someone where you can, whether it's a professional or a friend, where you can just unload without explaining why you unload. So what I mean is if you're sad, don't say I'm sad, but it's okay. I got a good life, and actually it's not that bad. That's not unloading. Sad is I'm sad. I'm just really sad right now, and I feel like a failure, and I'm scared that my business is not gonna work out. And stop. Maybe you need to cry. Maybe you need to scream. Maybe you need to punch something. Punch pillows, don't punch people. But whatever you do, don't explain yourself out of it, because then you're going to go lock it up again. What you feel has space to heal. That's where you find your greatest power. That's where you come up with ideas that change the world, that change your family, that change you, that transform you. So open your heart, let it out. There's no shame in admitting where you are and who you are. There's only acceptance, and there's only power in that. And I celebrate you, and I celebrate all of us, and we're all in this together. So peace out.
Nah, what a powerful message. One question Teresa asked: if someone sends you a connection request, do they send a message or no message? What do you prefer?
I prefer message,
So
definitely.
send out the messages.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
and I love what Zara has to say. Crying is a sign of strength, right? I've seen, I went to a wedding last night, and it was someone I knew from, they're twins, right? So the sister twin was getting married, and the brother twin, and when he was speaking, he was crying. Cause, I got emotional too, because I grew up with them when I was like 4 or 5, and, there's nothing wrong with it, right?
I hear
I
you.
think showing your emotions and being honest with yourself is a sign of strength. So thank you
Yeah.
so much for your time. I appreciate
Tonight.
you. You're always giving wonderful insight straight from the heart, both the organ and your definition of heart, and most people's definition of heart. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank
Thank
you,
you
brother.
for all the guests. Thank you for all the comments. Thank you for all the support. I wouldn't be doing this without you guys and girls. So thank you. Have a good one, everyone.
Peace out. Namaste. Bye bye.
Hold on. Let me just see. And we are done.